Hello everyone. Welcome to my week 5, 12 weeks of Christmas, week 5 series. I have such a cute little box to share with you guys today. This is what we're going to make today. I am just trying to get myself pulled up on my computer, so please bear with me. We are making a cute little milk carton box, but I have a cute little trick that I'm going to share with you with this one because I love milk carton boxes, but here's the thing that I don't love about milk carton boxes is that sometimes you have to rip them apart to get into them. And I hate that, especially when it's like a custom little box that I've made. So I've actually made this one with a removable lid. So this slides right off so you can get into your little treats there. And so I love that. So the box can stay fully intact and you still get all the cuteness. You don't have to rip anything apart. You don't have to open anything. It is fully intact and it is adorable. So we're going to make this today. I love it. We're going to use that Snowy Wonder set again. I can't get enough. But before we do, just a couple of really quick reminders because these things end this week. These things end on Thursday, October 31st. So if you have not yet taken advantage of the kit sale, our kits collection has kits discounted up to 30%. Every single kit is discounted, some up to 30%. Kits make fantastic Christmas gifts. They make great gifts for beginner crafters. They make great little travel projects to take on the go with you. If you're traveling for Thanksgiving or Christmas and you need something to do on the plane or in the airport or in the car, whatever, kits are so good for that. They are all inclusive. Sometimes you may need to bring some scissors, but otherwise they are completely all inclusive. If it is a stamped kit, it will come with ink and your block. It will come with most of your adhesive. The kits are fantastic. So think of them for your travels this holiday season. Think of them for gifts this holiday season. Think of them for gifts for your friends that you want to get into crafting, but they maybe just haven't had the courage to pick up that ink yet. But the kits are fantastic. We have a whole bunch of kits, not just card kits. There's a brand new notebook this month. There's lots of other crafty kits that are not cards that you can check out. So make sure to check that out because the kit sale ends on Thursday, so you don't want to miss that. Also ending on Thursday is the starter kit special. Our starter kit is always the best deal in the catalog. You get 125 in product for $99 plus free shipping, and then all the benefits that come with being a demonstrator. But in October, you're going to get to choose 155 in product for only $99. You still get the free shipping. You get all those demonstrator benefits. And this ends on Thursday as well. If you'd like to join, there's a link to my to join in the video description. You can head there and check that out. All right, so we're going to jump into the project because there are quite a few steps on this adorable little box, and I want to make sure that we fit it all in. So we're going to get started. So if you're watching this on Facebook, please like and share my video with your friends. That really helps my business out, and it's completely free. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up button. That helps a lot too. Okay, so we're going to make this. And so I talked about this a little bit at the very beginning, but we're going to go over it again. So I love milk carton boxes, and that's what we're going to make today. But I hate when you have to rip apart a milk carton box to get the treat. So I made this one with a removable lid. And inside there are two little Ghirardelli snowmen, so they fit perfectly with our theme. Don't you think? They go perfectly. So you get two little Ghirardelli chocolate snowmen, and they fit perfectly in this little box with the removable lid. You don't have to destroy the box. Everything stays intact. This is a nice little, like, slender box. You can definitely throw this one in some stockings. You can keep a few of them in your bag for, just out and about when you need to have a little gift to give out. So this is what we're going to make today. So I showed you my little Ghirardelli snowman. I found this big bag at Sam's Club. Now, I know that they sell smaller bags of these as well in, like, your grocery stores, your Walmarts, your Targets. So if you're not making like 20 of them, you might not need the giant bag, but I couldn't help myself. And this one has 3 different flavors, so they're all delicious, right? I mean, it's Ghirardelli chocolate. You're not going to go bad with this one. But mine fits 2. You can adjust the measurements if you wanted to hold more, but I think 2 is like the perfect little snack size. So we're going to get started on this. Now, this box is made with garden green cardstock. The box we're going to make in the video, I'm actually going to use real red because I want to show you the variety of, like, how you can do this. We are using the Take A Bow DSP. This DSP I have used, I think I've gone through like 3 packages of this just for my personal use. It is fantastic. It's, you get less designs, but you get more sheets of those designs. I think you get maybe like 8 sheets of each design. Oops, I think I dropped it. But you guys can see, I've used a ton. And the designs are just, they're basic Christmas designs. They are fantastic. And I just love it. And I've used it to death. I've used a ton of them. So I wanted to use colors that we're going to coordinate with that DSP. Garden green, real red, granny apple green, any of those you can't go wrong with this DSP. So every girl needs chocolate. I know, for sure, right? I know. And you know, here in New Mexico, I would keep chocolate in my bag all the time if it wasn't so hot. So, but now that it's getting colder, well, I don't know. I mean, it's still supposed to be 80, so who knows? It's crazy, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and make our box. So you're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock. Now you're going to have to watch the measurements on these a little bit because they're only 1/4 inch off. So let's start with, which one is this? This one is the, oh, hold on, let me check. This one is the bottom. I have all my notes. Do you guys want to hear a little secret about how I design projects? So I have a stack of Post-it notes, and typically when I write, when I'm designing something, I'll just start writing notes on my Post-it notes, and then I stick the Post-it notes on the back of the project. Like, so I'll just stick them like on the back when I'm done. That way the notes stay with the project for when I'm typing them up or when I go back to do them. This one I had to there was a lot of measurements and my notes started to get messy. So I had to have like 4 different Post-it notes and I need all of them. And so I have all 4 Post-it notes kind of laid out around me. So I'm trying to keep it all straight, but, all the measurements are correct and listed in the video description, and they will be correct and listed on my blog. So if I happen to read off an incorrect measurement, please double check those measurements in the video description or on my blog. All right, so the bottom of the box is 5.5 by 3.5, and we are going to score the 3.5 inch side. We're going to score it at 1. And then we're going to rotate to the 5.5 inch side and we're going to score it at 1.5. Now I've already put my markers for the long sides. I have my markers on my scoreboard for the long sides. So these ones I'm not going to mess up, but 1.5, 2.5, 4, and 5. So that is going to be the bottom of your box. And the way you know that it's the bottom of your box is that you only have 1 score line going across that shorter side. Okay. Now for the top of your box, you're going to need a piece that is 5.5 by 3 1/4. So it's just 1/4 inch smaller than the bottom of your box. So 5.5 by 3 1/4. And on the top, we're going to score it at 1/2 inch and at 1 1/4. Now we're going to rotate to the 5 inch side, to the 5.5 inch side, but you want to make sure that this 1/2 inch score line that we just scored is on top, because that's going to be important in just a minute. So make sure that that 5.5 inch score line is on the top. Don't make sure it's not down here, because that's not going to help you. So we're going to score the same measurements on that long side as we did the other one. So 1.5, 2.5, 4, and 5. Now, holding it in place with that 1/2 inch score line still at the top, we're going to go through and we are going to mark it at 2, only down to that 1/2 inch score line. So we're only doing 1 line down to that 1/2 inch score line, and at 4.5, only down to that 1/2 inch score line. So I think you guys can see that. So that little partial line only went to that first score line. Okay. On that side too. Okay. That's it with our scoreboard. I'm going to hold on to my little stylus because we're going to do a little bit more scoring. But you're going to need a ruler for this. So grab your favorite ruler. And what we're going to do is we are going to score diagonally from the bottom of that partial line down to each corner in that square. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll hopefully it'll show up on the camera. But so I'm going to line that up at the bottom of that partial score line, and then I'm going to line my ruler up with that corner down there, and I'm just going to score that, just making a triangle in that. And that's what's going to give us those pleated edges. So yeah, I think you guys can see that. So you see what I did there? We just kind of turn that square into triangles. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing on this one. And down to that bottom intersection where those score lines meet. Just making that the little triangle there. Okay, and that's it. That's all the score lines. So let me put my scoring tool away because Lord knows I will lose that thing if I don't put it away. And we're going to burnish our score lines. So I'm going to move back to the bottom of my box and we'll put the top one aside. So the bottom one has that one score line along the bottom and then the 4 going across the side. So burnish your lines really well, and we're going to do a little bit of trimming. So I'm going to flip it over because I can see my lines better on this side. So we have a 1/2 inch tab here. On the bottom, we are going to cut out that little 1/2 inch rectangle right here. We don't need that. And I'm actually going to angle this little tab just slightly. Just, you know, just give that a little tiny bit of an angle. And then we're going to cut straight up the score lines, going straight up on the rectangles. You've seen me make boxes before. This is not anything I do differently. So we have our rectangles. These are going to be the tops or the bottoms of our boxes. And then these are going to be the little tabs that go in it, the little squares. So we're just going to notch those in because that's going to take away some of the bulk. It's going to make this easier to put together, but we're still going to be left with a nice sturdy box. So just take away some of that bulk. Okay, so this is the trimming of the bottom. That's all you do. You just kind of liberate those tabs on the bottom. Okay, so that's the bottom of our box. The top of our box, let's grab that bone folder again. So on that long side, we're gonna fold and burnish all those lines. Don't worry about any of these partial score lines that we did in those squares right now. We don't need to worry about any of those just yet. Now this 1/2 inch score line that we did at the top, we're gonna fold that one backwards, just like that. So you're gonna fold this one kind of a Z shape, okay? And again, we're not gonna really worry about these lines up here. Now the only trimming I'm going to do on this one is on this 1/2 inch tab here. I'm just going to kind of angle cut these just a little bit, and that'll just help our box assemble a little bit better. So that is all the trimming on this one. This one has very little trimming to do. So top and the bottom of our box, we have all scored and trimmed up. All right, so let's put our DSP on. So this is easier to do before you assemble the box. So I'm going to kind of lay these out and I'll go over the measurements of the DSP in just a second. So I'm using that Take A Bow DSP for this. You can kind of see. So for the top of the box, let me read off the measurements. And again, if I'm reading off the wrong measurements, all the measurements are in the video description. So for the top of the box, this one, you're going to need 2 pieces that are 1 1/4 by 1 3/4, and then you're going to need 2 pieces that are 3/4 by 1 3/4. Okay, so please check the video description for all the measurements. I know me reading off a bunch of them is just going to get confusing. For the bottom, you're going to need 2 that are 1 1/4 by 2 1/4, and then you're going to need 2 that are 3/4 by 2 1/4. And I am just going to use just my Stampin' Seal Plus, and we're just going to adhere these down. So I'm just going to go through, just put a little bit of glue on each one, and these are just going to fit perfectly in those. For the top, we're not going to worry about any of this. They're going to fit perfectly in these little bottom segments down here. Okay. And you guys, let me do one. My phone is giving me some little notifications. Let me, hold on. If I lose you, I'm going to come right back. Give me 1 sec. Okay, we still there? I think we're still there. I just, you know, I had to just make an adjustment. I usually do that before I go live. My daughter's using all the Wi-Fi in the house, so I had to switch to a different one. And you guys, it's been a week here too. This is week 5 of my 12 weeks of Christmas series, so we're almost halfway through. And I don't know where the week went. I feel like it was just Sunday last week, or just, you know, yesterday. It was a week ago. It is going so fast. I blinked and this week was over. I don't know what happened. Craziness, right? So I'm using a couple of different patterns for these. I mean, actually, it's the same pattern. I'm just using the reverse side. But that Take A Bow DSP has so many different options that you can choose, and depending on the colors of the DSP or the base, you can really customize these boxes to whatever you want, and they're so quick and easy to put together. Okay, so that's all the DSP, and again, this is going to be a lot easier to put on while your box is flat, so make sure to do that. So we have the bottom and the top. Let's do some gluing. Let's start adhering our box. Now for my box, I am going to use my Tumble liquid glue because I want this to stay, I mean, you could use any strong adhesive. I really prefer Tumble liquid glue for boxes, especially boxes like this one with the, it's going to get a lot of handling with the lid on and off and on and off. You really want it to be super secure. You don't want things to start breaking on the edges or anything like that. So you want it to be super secure. So I'm going to go with my Tumble liquid glue. You use whatever strong glue you are happy with. Our Stampin' Seal Plus would be great. Tear and tape, all of that. So I put some glue on the 1/2 inch tab. I'm going to fold this over. I'm going to fold this over just like that. It's going to fold nice and square. It's going to lay flat. Then I like to lay it flat this way too, just to make sure everything is nice and flat. Okay. So I'm working with the bottom here. And then we have the seam right here in the back. So this one's going to be the front. So I'm going to fold that down. And I'm going to fold the back one in first. And that's going to give us a really clean finish on the bottom. You're not going to have any tabs to interfere with anything. So these little tabs are going to get glued right onto the bottom, just like that. And then this one will go right on, just like this. Okay, I'm going to stick my bone folder in, give it a little burnish, make sure everything is nice and secure. Okay, so that is the bottom of the box. Super easy. That's like your basic box. Okay, the top of the box, I'm going to just kind of gently fold these partial score lines back and forth. They're going to naturally fold in on themselves once we get the box put together, but I'm just going to give them just a little bit of a head start and just gently kind of go back and forth on them. Nothing too major. We're not getting out a bone fold or anything. We're just kind of starting the memory of that cardstock so it kind of knows what to do. Okay, now for this one, when we glue it together, we don't want to glue it completely flat. We want the top, the lid of our box to be like a hair larger so that it fits over the bottom of our box. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to glue it square with that edge. I'm going to leave it, and I don't even know if the camera is really going to pick this up. Maybe you can see a little bit down here. I am going to leave it maybe like a 1/16 of an inch gap there between the edge of the cardstock and the tab. So when you kind of fold it flat, it's not going to lay completely flat. I hope that makes sense, but that's just going to ensure that the lid opening down here is just like a hair larger so that it will fit right over the bottom of our box. So I hope that makes sense. All right, now these little sides where we did our partial scores, you should just be able to push in with your index finger, and then with your middle finger and your thumb, you should just be able to kind of push them closed, and they should just, you know, go into that little milk carton look all by themselves. You shouldn't have to do too much to that. All right, now do want to glue this closed. You can keep this closed with clothespins or, you know, ribbons, whatever you want. I'm going to go around and just put glue on all 4 sides, just on that inside, that top 1/2 inch piece. And then I'm just going to hold this closed just like this. And I'm going to grab a couple little clothespins, and we're just going to keep this closed just for a few minutes while we finish up the rest of our box. And that's going to keep our box nice and closed, because they don't need to open the top to get into the box. They can just slide it open just like that. So they don't need to hold or to undo the box to get in there. So we're going to leave this so all that glue can set up. So we're going to set aside our bottom and our top, and we're going to work on our stamping. So let me get to that. So I have a piece of basic white, just some scraps, and we're going to do some stamping. So I have the Snowy Wonder bundle. So this bundle with the amazing dies. There are so many dies in here. If you don't want to do snowmans, now I'm doing the snowman specifically because my chocolates are snowman themed. So that's why I'm going with the snowman. But I mean, there are so many different options in here. You can build a million different scenes with the little snowman, the mountains, the penguin, the house, the trees, whatever you want to do. So this is such a good bundle though. So let's do some stamping. So I have my black memento, and we're going to do our snowman. So gonna get him nice and inky. Do our snowman, and we'll do his hat, and that will be in black memento. Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna move this ink pad because it's kind of messy on the outside. So I'm just gonna put that one away. And we are going to stamp 3 gifts. Now there's only 1 gift stamp in the stamp set, and we're gonna stamp it in 3 different colors. So I'm gonna clean it between each one. So we're gonna do Granny Apple Green. And again, I'm using the colors from the DSP. So Granny Apple Green. And then I'm gonna go right into my Garden Green. I have to be really careful with this pad because I've broken it, and so the lid keeps like just coming right off. I need to order a new Garden Green pad. So Granny Apple Green, Garden Green. Now I didn't clean it between Granny Apple Green and Garden Green because Garden Green is a darker green. So I'm not worried about those like interfering, but I am going to clean it because we're going into red, and I definitely don't want to mix the green and the reds for sure. So real red for my 3rd present. And so that is it for the little gifts. 3 gifts. And then our greeting, I'm going to stamp our greeting over here. I'm just going to end up cutting it out to the height of the greeting here. So I'm just going to stamp it along the bottom here, and I'm going to use Garden Green. But again, you could use whatever you wanted for this, but I'm just going to put that down on the bottom. And we're done with our inking. And so you'll use the dies and die cut these out, and through the magic of television, I have already die cut all of our pieces that we need. So I'm going to grab my little paper trimmer, and we're going to get this greeting cut out though. So let me just kind of cut this like this. Cut this out. So I'm going to cut this to like the height. I'm using my little guillotine trimmer here, but you can definitely put this in a regular trimmer. Just trim that down too. So I'm just going to kind of cut it. I'm going to leave a little bit of room on the left side so that we can tuck it under our snowman. Okay. I'm going to grab my scissors, and I'm going to just flag the end here. So I cut up the middle, and then I just go from side to side and just kind of meet in that point. If you have a nice little punch that does that, you can pull that out too. But we're just going to make a little flagged end there. Okay, so let's get all this kind of put together. Let's work on our snowman before we start putting it together. I have my pumpkin pie Stampin' Write marker. Now these are different than Stampin' Blend. So this is a Stampin' Blend. This is a Stampin' Write. This is water-based. This is alcohol-based. The only reason I'm using my Stampin' Write marker and not my pumpkin pie Stampin' Blend is just because the tip is a lot smaller and his little carrot nose is very tiny. And it's just a little bit easier for me to get in there with the Stampin' Write marker than with the Stampin' Blends. If you have the Stampin' Blends and you feel comfortable doing that, by all means you can do that. I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit, just so we can see the little snowman better. All right, now I have my light pool party, and I'm going to use my brush tip end, and I'm just going to do a swoop along the left side of his face, along the left side of his belly, and along the left side of that, his bottom. I don't know what you call that. So just little swoops. Now this is just going to give us a little shading. I'm going to do the same on the right, just not on his face. So on his face, he only has that swoop on the left. But this is just going to give us just the slightest bit of shading on him. So it's going to bring him to life a little bit. Okay. Now before we stick him on, I'm going to stick his little hat on. Just a little bit of glue up here. You can use a glue dot. So just a tiny bit of glue. And I'm going to stick his hat on. Just like that. So he's ready to go. So let's get it onto our label here. I have a circle die cut with the everyday, I think it's everyday details dies. I think I have them right here. Yeah. Yeah. Everyday details dies. These are phenomenal. Now I will say that these little dots though, if you don't like messes, I'm going to warn you about this one because those little dots get everywhere. But it's so worth it because these little dies are so adorable. So I'm going to grab some dimensionals. And I'm going to put a couple on our snowman. I'm going to kind of leave his, the middle area blank. I'm going to put one up by his hat and one down at the bottom because our greeting is going to kind of slide in right here and I don't want a dimensional to get in the way. So just a couple on him. And then we're going to stick him on kind of just left of center. just so we have room for our greeting. All right, now I'm going to grab another couple dimensionals for our greeting. Now the greeting is going to hang off quite a bit, so I am just going to put the dimensionals, I'm going to focus them on the back of the left side. That way if it hangs off out here, it's okay. It's not interfering with anything. And I'm just going to tuck this in just like that. Perfect. Just double check, make sure no dimensionals are hanging off, and it looks good. Okay, so now all that's left is a little present, and I'm just going to use little half pieces of dimensionals here, so I'm just going to cut up my edges. Mini dimensionals would work great too. So I'm just going to put one on the back of that granny apple green one, put that one right next to him, one on the back of the real red, and that one's going to kind of hover right next to that granny apple green one. And then for that garden green one, I'm just going to do a dot of my Tombow here. Again, glue dots would work great. And we're just going to stick that one on over here. Just like that. And that is our sweet little tag. Isn't it adorable? So cute. All right, with my dimensionals now, I'm going to flip this over. And I'm going to get some dimensionals. Actually, I think I'll just do one of these edge pieces. I think this is like dimensionals left over from a paper pumpkin kit or something. But I'm just going to put it right down the middle of the back. Make sure you put it down the middle, you know, vertically, not horizontally, because it is going to hang off just a little bit. So you don't want any dimensionals on the side. And then we're going to grab our, oh, hello. Don't glue it down to your mat. I'm going to peel off those clothespins, and I'm going to find the back for that little seam. And I hope you can see that now. I think you can kind of see that in the video now, how it's just about maybe a 1/16 inch off compared to the back one, which, where's the seam on the back one? It's right here. This is the seam. So you can see this one is nice and flush, and this one is just a little bit off. So I hope you guys can see that. Okay, so that's on the back though. And then we're just gonna stick this one right on the front. Just make sure you don't have any adhesive hanging off the bottom or the sides. And we're gonna stick our candies in. So I have my 2 little snowman Ghirardelli treats here. And this is going to go right in. You may have to pinch the sides just a hair, just a little bit to get it in, but it should fit pretty perfectly and it'll slide right down. Isn't that fun? Let me zoom back out just a little bit. Oops, wrong way. There, just a little bit, just so you guys can get the whole vision. But isn't that so sweet? So they don't have to, your recipients don't have to take apart your box. They can leave it fully intact. And it is so sweet. All right, now just to finish it off, I want to add just a little bit of twine at the top, just for decoration. This serves no purpose, really, just for decoration. So I have the real red and white baker's twine. It looks like a candy cane. It's so cute. So I'm going to wrap this around, I don't know, 2-3 times. And then I'm going to just tie a bow. So let me cut this off because I'm not going to tie it on the spool. Goodness knows that's not my talent. So I'm going to cut this off, and we're just going to tie it into a little knot first. A little anchor knot will hold it down nice and secure, and then that will give us a little bit more leverage. We can kind of adjust it where we want it to be, and we can tie our little bow. So an anchor knot, and then tie your little baker's twine bow. I love baker's twine, and this little Christmas candy cane looking baker's twine has been my favorite. I've used this a ton. It's my favorite. I really hope this carries over. Okay, just trim my ends just a little bit. And that's it, guys. What do you think? Red? Do you like the real red or the garden green? Which one's your favorite? The DSPs are a little different too. The same bottom DSP, different tops. But it is such a cute little, super cute gift. And I hope you guys loved it. Again, the tops slide right off, so you don't have to worry about your recipient ripping your box apart just to get a little treat. So this was week 5. Week 6 next week. I'm not entirely sure what we're doing, but you guys, I found these at the store this week. Santa Kit Kats. Hello. The stores are starting to get their Christmas candy out, so I'm getting really excited. So we might use the Santa Kit Kats. We'll definitely use them at some point. I don't know if that'll be for next week, but don't forget to join me next week for week 6 of 12 Weeks of Christmas. We'll be halfway through, guys. I can't believe it. So thank you again for joining me. If you're on Facebook, please share this with your crafty friends and like my page. That really helps me out. Again, if you're watching the replay on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. That helps me out as well. All right, guys, thank you so much. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave me a comment and I will make sure to answer those. Thanks again for joining me, and I will see you guys next week for week 6. Have a great week.